I want to just welcome you to our Fire Arts Gallery here in Brattleboro, Vermont, because we just recently got your beautiful work. You could go anywhere. What brought you to this very nature-inspired craft? Because everything you do seems to be related to nature.
It definitely is. I actually do a lot of hiking and trail running, and I love to garden. And so as I started doing metalsmithing, I started with using beach stones a lot in my work, and then I discovered casting botanicals, and that's what I sort of laid out here for you. Wanted to show you a little bit of that. But you know, I start with a little pine cone, or let's see, I get that up close so you can see it. Or this is an acorn. And so I start with the actual botanical, and I burn that out in the casting process, and it's replaced with silver. So that's what's so exciting to me about that, is that I can get all that texture and forms from nature, but then incorporate it into my work in more of a contemporary way. And so this whole tray, which
right,
hold up
oh yeah,
let's see,
all from nature.
Yeah, those are all things. So what I do is I just collect things on my walks and my runs and in my garden, and then I bring it home and I wax it. I dip it into wax, and then what I do is it's called spruing it up. So this is the sprue, and I take these different pieces and I attach them to this rubber base. And so it looks like a tree, and it's covered with all these different little botanicals. And then what I do once that's all attached is I take this metal flask, I put it over the top, I fill this with investment, and investment's kind of like plaster of Paris. And so it fills it up, it hardens. I put it in my kiln, which is right back here, overnight, and it burns out all those botanicals, and all the natural materials get burned out. And what's left is that mold. So then I melt my silver and I pour it into the mold. And so it really replaces the natural materials with the silver or the gold.
So you then must be picking the botanicals according to size, right? Because they're 1-to-1. You can't take a big pine cone and try to make it small. It's all the little pieces.
It is. And the tricky part is some things that are really beautiful, like this is a really cool acorn, and you can see it's a big acorn. If I cast that in silver, the acorn's really light, but in silver, it's going to be really heavy. So I'm limited, you know, as in jewelry, as far as weight and what might be comfortable to wear. So I'm always thinking about that as well.
Yeah.
And once I cast a botanical that I really love, and I get a perfect cast of it, I make a mold of it, and then I can inject that mold with wax, and then I'll have a little wax model of that, and then I can cast that. So that's multiples of certain pieces, or if I want a necklace and earrings with the same botanical on it, I use the mold to get multiples of one piece. And so my production work, a lot of those pieces come from the mold.
Now understanding your process, I love that you found all these tiny little mini versions of pieces of nature.
When I started casting, I was casting things more of this size, you know, that's pretty big. And now I have a tray over there, I'll show you in a little while, that I'm making charm necklaces where the charms are even littler. It's like everything's getting, like I'm honing in when I'm looking for things, almost for those microscopic details. And what I'm finding is really fun as my work progresses is I'm really trying to take some of the textures from nature and then incorporate them into different things, so that you look at it and it's like recognizable, or it has a feel of a natural thing, but you're not really sure what it is. And that's intriguing to me.
That's interesting, because I was just gonna ask you if you do you feel you kind of completed your search among the nature, that you know these are the pieces I like to make and I stick with it? Or are you still open to finding new things that could continue to inspire and actually expand your collection?
Well, I'll take you on a little studio tour to answer that question. Okay. To my botanical shelf. So it kind of starts up here, and I have big pieces up there. And then this shelf are all the pieces that, can you see them very well?
Yeah.
These are all the pieces I've collected, but I haven't waxed and that are waiting to be cast. So there's quite a few there. And then these next few shelves, all these little trays down here.
Oh, look at that. Oh my God. That looks like an archaeological site, you know, numbered and everything organized.
So I definitely collect more than I ever have time to cast. These are the teeny tiny charm necklaces that I'm just starting. And the nice thing about these really small charms is I'm starting to work in gold.
Oh, interesting.
So that whole series will be a kind of a mixed metal.
Nice.
So, April, what happens after you take it out of the mold? Can you talk a little bit about the finish process?
These little pieces here have come out of the mold, and what I've done is I've cleaned them up. They'll have little metal sprues on them that you have to cut off and then grind down and polish. And then, you know, I really look at my castings as sort of raw materials. So they then become part of, you know, like the charm necklace, which has the charm. The necklace that you guys have that's the charm is a California poppy pod that I cast, and then the different charms go on there, and I create the bail. So it's a lot of fabrication happens after I've done the casting. And then I pretty much oxidize almost all of my work because I really like it to have that, it brings out the texture when you have black and silver in the piece so that you can really see the texture.
Oh, what it means to oxidize metal. What do you actually have to do to it?
So what I do is it's a chemical process. So after it's all finished, you've cleaned it all up, you dip it into the chemical. It's either, there's several different ones that can turn it black. And once it's turned black, then I can either polish it off by hand, or I often use a tumbler with a special media in it, and it tumbles it. And what that does is it brings out the silver along the surface and keeps the black down in all of the cracks and crevices.
So is most of your jewelry silver, or what type of mediums do you work with actually?
Most of my jewelry right now is sterling silver. I do some commissions in gold, and I do a few pieces that are mixed metal where I might set the stone in gold and then the background will be silver. I really like the look of the gold and the silver together and the oxidized silver. And then I also use beach stones and a lot of semi-precious and a whole variety of different stones, cut stones.
I love, it's not just, that you picked up on nature, but you even made it, what is it always, form over function, but yours is not form over function. It has a lot of function while keeping the form. So I just thought that was a really beautiful extra little twist that I think people will enjoy and must have been enjoying, because you're obviously selling them.
Well, and it's fun because it's something that people can add to, they have one of the, the charm necklace, and they can also take those charms off and wear them on a short little chain, which I really like. Like, I'm always wearing just one little short necklace, and so those little charms are beautiful.
Has COVID affected your artistic life?
I just feel super lucky that this is what I get to do every day, and it has been amazing for my work, because my work has really grown a lot by moving to a place where I'm out in nature and surrounded by, like, my latest collection I call the Woodland Collection, because it's all sort of the cones and all of the things that I've been collecting, in ferns. I'm doing ferns, and so things, that are out in nature. And my last collection was ebb and flow. So I was casting seaweed and doing all of the water thing. So it's been great for my work. It hasn't been great for meeting people.
Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We're cheering.
Cheers.
We're cheering to you, and we're so excited to have you here. And I hope that we will have a wonderful connection and just, get inspired by your work over time, more and more. We love it.
Well, I'm excited to be there. I wish I could come visit because I'd love to see your gallery. So at some point when travel happens again.